Hi Stampers, my name is Angela Meyer. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and my website is www.wildvioletsart. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create paper that makes these really gorgeous fall colors, and we're going to be using Nature's Roots dies, and they're from the Rooted in Nature bundle. And you can see that I've made a card with it, and I've also made a 3x3 sampler that I had as part of an exchange with my upline. So what you're going to want is you're going to want some watercolor paper, you're going to want some reinkers, you can use your favorite colors, and you're going to want some Fluid 100 watercolor paper. Stampin' Up! Sells this. Along with that, you're going to want the shimmer paint and some of the spritzers that Stampin' Up! Sells. Today I'm going to be using the Smooch Spritz, which Stampin' Up! Used to sell back in 2010. They stopped selling it. I'm not sure why. Maybe there was issues with the quality, but you can make your own with one of Stampin' Up's little Stampin' Spritzers by adding a half rubbing alcohol and then about a dozen drops of this Frost White shimmer paint. You can use that or the champagne, and it adds just this really pretty texture or shimmer to your end results of your cards. I'm not sure if you're able to see that in this video, but the shimmer is just really pretty and subtle. Okay, so you're going to want a space that has maybe plastic wrap. I've got plastic wrap, and then I've got a plastic sheet here that's pretty smooth that that I can have. And I'm going to start with Blackberry Bliss, and I'm just going to do just a few dots. A little bit goes a long ways. Maybe just 2 dots for this one because I'm only using like a small piece of cardstock. Going to use crushed curry. And I'm going to use Mossy Meadow. Now I'm going to just spritz the area with water. Because I want it to be very wet. And I'm going to use a water just to kind of spread out each one of the colors. I'm going to clean in between. I don't want the colors to mix too much. They will a little bit, but I want it to do it on the paper. Because when you have the fall colors in your cards and your leaves, you know, like out there when you've looked at the leaves that happen in fall on the East Coast, it's just amazing. And I want those colors in my card. So I'm just gonna wet the cardstock. And then I'm gonna lay it on the plastic. Let it absorb for a couple seconds. And there I go. Super messy, so make sure you have some wipes close by. And then I'm gonna use my blender pen or my water painter to just kind of make sure that all the areas are colored. And then I'm gonna just flatten this out a little bit so that it doesn't all concentrate in one area. I have more left behind, so I'm going to do another card or another piece of watercolor paper and do the same thing again. It's just lovely. So you can wait for your cardstock to dry, or you can use a blow dryer, and I tend to use a blow dryer to speed things up. Okay, once your paper is mostly dry, it doesn't have to be completely dry. Then I'm taking this smooch spritz, but you can make your own with the shimmer paint and one of the Stampin' spritzers and some alcohol. And what it does is it just leaves a shimmer over the cardstock. And I really like the look of it for these fall cards. So you have a choice of either just doing the die cut on these alone, or you can stamp them first. And Rooted in Nature has these gorgeous leaves that I'm going to be using, and then I'll be able to use the die cuts to cut them out. So I'm going to use Mossy Meadow stamp pad, and I'm going to just stamp where I'm going to want each one of these cards. And I really like the variety of color that I can get from this cardstock now that I have used the re-inkers on them. So I'm going to give that a minute to dry. So this is after running through the portions that emboss. And you can see that the leaves have an embossing, and now I'm going to take and run it through to cut out the shapes. This one has already been cut out. As you can see, I have all these leaves that have been both embossed and cut. And I was just going to show you briefly how I get this 3D effect. So I will bend the leaves in the middle, and they're still not 100% dry. And then I'll just roll the leaves back. And they end up looking just like a leaf if you don't look at the back side. So again, I'll show you. I fold it in half lengthwise. I pull that tip down, and then I roll the edges over my fingers. And then you end up with this really nice 3D effect. This one's a little bit harder. So what I do is I'll bend this way, just using my fingernails just to kind of get the 3D effect that I want. And then when I'm done, you can see it's got all this texture to it. Same thing with this one. And then this one, I do each individual leaf, fold it in half, pull the tip out, and then roll the edges. You can see that it just ends up having this really nice 3D look. And then I just assemble it on this card. I'll put it in my notes, but this text right here was from the Very Versailles, and then In Good Taste Designer Series paper, the really beautiful, lighter, rugged, looks like barnwood. Gold foil. These little sprigs is from Forever Fern. actually Forever Flourishing dies. And then, of course, I use the gold cord that's from the Forever Flourishing dies, and then the gold faceted gems. And this is Mossy Meadow that I put through the embossing folder, the subtle 3D, so it kind of gives it a little bit of a grain. So I'll just bring that up there so you can take a look at it. Turned out really pretty. And then, of course, these are some of the wood elements that come in the Forever Fern or Forever Greenery suite. And so it just kind of gave it a really, really pretty combination. Thanks for joining me. I'll give more details in the blog so that you know how to put it together. And thank you for watching.